Welcome to Timelines, episode 142. Today we have Mike Fitzpatrick, a born entrepreneur from Reno, Nevada, who is one of the principal owners of Dealer Trend. That's dealertrend.com, and visionary for Car Dealer Press plugin and system. And that's cardealerpress.com, which is one of the most powerful car marketing systems and plugins developed to date, which allows dealerships of all sizes to have up to 10,000 and beyond of their live automobile inventory online, and with ability for them to have and own their own website and control all those cars. Mike, I've been trying to get a hold of you for like over a year. You are also the leader of the WordPress meetup for all of Reno, and you've put together WordCamp. So you're quite a busy guy, and you've got a fairly large company. But I want to go back and find out how you got to where you are today with this technology here in Reno. Mm-hmm. And first of all, that's pretty accurate where you are today. You have an agency with developers and folks, and you're right in the middle of Reno. And tell us a little bit more how you got there. What did you do to end up where you are? I know you had about 10 years actually in the automobile industry, and you found a niche, and you've really done well.
That's correct. So pretty much just after being in the car business for 10 years, it was introduced to some people who were trying to get software into the car dealer business and needed somebody that could speak the lingo. Had been in it and understood it. And that's where I kind of jumped on, and we've just been evolving from there.
Very good. Very good. So why did you get into it? What made you get into building plugins and creating a digital agency?
Pretty much, just recognizing the need or following what we saw as a need. When I first started with this, we did websites. We did, we did a lot of the local websites here in Reno. We did some websites in California and around the country, and found that car dealers really wanted to own their own presence, and that was never available. So we started you saw WordPress growing, right, in 2004, 2005, 2006. We saw that evolution and saw that it would be a great content management system for car dealers to be able to use. And our plugin has just kind of evolved from there. And now we've got mostly independent resellers, essentially local digital marketers that use our plugin to help their local car dealer clients, right? So they can have control of the website and actually build it up from there.
So you're developing regional support elements out into the community so they can get face-to-face. We were talking offline about how the industry, you were inside the car dealership industry all the way through from finance to sales to the whole element. How it's sort of a closed industry among itself.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean by closed industry, but it's unique.
So that's right.
You have to have been in it to appreciate it,
to get the credibility to even talk to the owners.
Yeah, there's kind of this fraternity sorority thing that goes on. Hey, you're a car guy, I'm a car guy. It's just it's an experience that once you've gone through, you've shared it with somebody.
Right. So, on your early years, did you ever dream about that you'd be doing something like this, like when you were in the middle?
No. Yeah, I went into the car business to learn how to sell because I realized the importance of sales in just about any industry, and just just kind of evolved from there.
So who are some of the agencies here in Reno as you started to evolve in your sales? Because there's some young people, I've always believed that that's one of the best tracks to get into if you want to get into marketing sales, at least in some time. Because, we have a brokerage in California and in real estate and one here, and we found some of our best people actually came out of the car industry.
Sure.
We just want to go to a higher dollar product.
Yep.
Probably a little fewer hours too in some aspects.
Potentially, right? The go-getters in real estate, I would imagine, work more hours. In the car business, you're at the dealership, 12 hours a day, pretty consistently. And with some of the stuff I was doing, I was there probably more than that, 5-6 days a week for several years. So, but it's a great learning experience if you like people and like being around people. I would recommend it to anybody.
Yeah. Real estate is a tough business because you have to understand sales. But if someone understands sales and they have a large, what we call a social farm or a personal farm of people they know over a period of years, they're from the community. Sometimes they don't have to work real hard if they can get out and get listings. So it really depends. There's some people who just naturally, especially if they come out of sales, if they have a big portfolio, let's say I've seen people come out of the car dealership who built a lot of trust with their clients over the years, were able to transition into real estate.
Yeah,
Even do
you
both
bet.
for a while.
Yeah, you bet. As long as you let everybody know in your circle what you're doing, that's probably one of the most important things. I see a lot of people go into the car business, new car salespeople. They don't tell their neighbor that they're selling cars, and their neighbor will come in and buy a car from someone else. So you got to expose yourself.
So tell us about some of the agencies you work for here. It was all in Reno?
As far as the car dealers or
car dealers, yeah, the dealerships you work for.
Yeah, all over the country. We've got dealer groups.
For you as you evolved. I know you were with Lexus for a while, right?
Oh, personally, got it as within the car business. With Toyota, Lexus. Actually started at Chrysler Subaru. Is where I got my feet wet the first time, and then I spent most of my time with the Dolan Group here in Reno.
Dolan in Reno has an excellent reputation.
Yeah, he's done a great job.
In fact, a lot of our dealerships here, Bill Pierce, they all have very good reputations in town.
Yep. We currently do most of the online presence for Bill Pierce and some of the other one locally.
And Dolan gives a lot back to the community.
Always has, yeah, and that's true with most car dealers, which is one of the reasons why I've always wanted to put the power back in the car dealers' hands a little bit, as opposed to what they've got now, so that they can have a local presence, a local digital marketer help them out, because they give so much back to the community. They get a bad rap a lot, and some of it may be warranted, but it's usually bad salespeople, not bad dealers. Because the dealers really do take care of their communities. They, help the local little league teams, the Special Olympics. It's amazing just how much money they really do put back into the community and time.
Well, knock on wood, that I came from another city, of course, and knew all the car dealers in that town because I was a vice mayor of the city. Mm-hmm. But knock on wood, I've never had a bad experience with a car dealer or a purchase my entire life. So I'm happy.
Yeah. It's all about the salesperson. It really is, and if you can find a salesperson that you trust and want to keep going back to, just keep going back to that person.
Yeah, I take that back. I didn't have a problem with the dealership or the sales, but I did buy a Dodge minivan when I was very young and first married, and that was not my favorite car.
Yeah.
That's the only car I say I wish I hadn't bought, but it wasn't the car dealer's fault.
They've evolved quite a bit too. It's all the domestic cars have brought their level up, their game up quite a bit, which is good.
It needed to. It wasn't up there. Prior to that, I'd had like Japanese cars. And
Yep.
So anyway, as you transition, one thing I noticed that's different with your agency, what I find now is a lot of people, like the 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss, they talk about building agencies, but they're really virtual agencies where you have people in different locations. Mm-hmm. All your people work together, don't they? In the same
That's
location?
Correct.
That's really correct. Unusual.
Yeah, we found it was just easier from a communication standpoint for what we do, because we do a lot of support with car dealers as well. And, just to the time involved to set up the processes and make sure that the quality was there when you're outsourcing is really hard. Obviously, there's a lot of very skilled people that we could bring on board from a remote or in a remote situation that would work out just fine. It just hasn't evolved that way for us. And eventually we might. We've all talked about moving around the world and, kind of doing different things. And we've got all the tools are definitely there to do that, though.
Well, I've interviewed people who have been able to build very successful teams, but they said it took some time.
Yeah, it does. You got to have the vision. If they understand the why, right, of why we're doing things, it's and buy into that, it makes all the difference in the world. And
we do live in a very beautiful city. And mountains, gorgeous, great place to live, great quality of life here.
Yep. Nice, we'd love to see more of the tech community and it build. Obviously Reno's got some great things going on right now with Tesla coming to town and some of the server stuff coming in. So I think we're in an exciting time in Reno where the tech community can actually come ski, snowboard in the winter, mountain bike in the summer. So it'd be great. We're
about a 4-hour drive from Santa Clara in Silicon Valley. Yep. And it just amazes me. They come over here and visit, but they don't live here. And yet we're getting all this high tech. Apple is here in Reno. Yep. They've been doing their finance here for a long time. A lot of money, a lot of folks. They got a cloud server out in the big Reno and Tahoe Industrial Park, world's largest industrial park. We got Tesla coming in. We got Amazon building another 1 million square foot of storage, a lot of communications.
Yep.
I just can't imagine why we haven't developed more along the lines of Silicon Valley, because we've got the quality of life here. I mean, you can ski 20 minutes away.
Yeah. It's just bringing them together. I think we've got a lot of silos here in Reno. There's tech pieces all over the place. It's just getting them together, getting them to understand that, there is more here than, people really realize. There's some amazing things going on.
Hey, with that, I'm going to go to a break and we'll be. Okay. I want to thank the sponsors, Share the Oils of Northern Nevada. We appreciate it. And of course, my little product that's going online right now, which is Netcasting 101 at netcasting101.com. It'll be up in full strength by Christmas, but you can buy it pre-development right now for a nominal amount of money. So check out netcasting101.com. Well, Mike, we're back to the show, and we're going to my favorite part, which are success and life principles, leadership principles. And I'm going to have to put on my glasses because I'm going to read the 5 you mentioned before the show to me. And it's 1, always be curious and keep learning. 2 is learn from your experiences and people. 3 is constantly ask, how can I make things better? Or how can I make this better? And 4 is share what you learn. And 5 is take action. We're going to talk about a couple books after that. So let's go back to always be curious and keep learning. What's that mean to you?
And they kind of all tie together. It's really all one thing to me, but learning is you've got to always be learning, making yourself better. It's that Kaizen, I think we mentioned the J. Douglas Edwards, that philosophy of always getting better, but being curious is, what is it that, you can learn, who can you learn from? Curiosity is a really good thing that, I've got an 8-year-old daughter, and watching her be curious, it's amazing how, as we get older, we lose some of that. So I've kind of made it an effort to try and be curious about things as they come up.
We had an interesting discussion earlier about PHP. Now, PHP is one of the codes we use in WordPress with CSS and all that. And you have the big picture look. But I asked you, how much PHP do you want to learn?
Yeah, and I said none, probably. It's funny because I'd love to have the control to do it. That's one of the balances, is of always learning, is choosing what to learn and where you're going to have your strength. And with a company like what we've got, becoming a developer isn't my role. If it was, if things changed, if dealer trend stopped or, sold or whatever, and I had an opportunity to go back into it, I probably would, because, I really enjoy WordPress. I've got a lot of great, ideas for plugins that I'd love to implement myself. But right now is just not the time for that. So
I talked to you about a plugin earlier today.
Yeah.
In the concepts. Yeah. But the PHP, you mentioned something. You've got your own PHP developer in-house, and you've really homegrown that PHP developer.
That's correct. Well, he's homegrown himself.
Oh, he's homegrown himself.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, he kind of took over the plugin, and it just has done a phenomenal job. We got very, very fortunate, very smart guy, is willing to always get better. And then, the other pieces we've got, we're very fortunate with the team we have, because we're always learning new things and sharing amongst each other and bringing each other up.
How often do you have to update the plugin?
We don't have to update it, but you're always adding features. There's always going to be little bugs, with software. It's, especially something as active as ours, it's updated, sometimes 2-3 times a week.
Wow. And any security issues ever?
Oh, you bet. There's, even if it has nothing to do with us, there's holes that could come up. That's one of the reasons why you're constantly updating. You got to pay attention. There's holes in PHP, right, which you have to fix in your development. So,
it's scary from the outside, isn't it? Until
it can be. I haven't. I've become more desensitized to that and don't have those fears. You back up. There's just certain best practices that you do to avoid, at least having that fear.
I have 17 WordPress sites, and 2 of them went down a couple months ago. But that was really good, because I can't believe how long they went without going down, and I was able to bring them up pretty fast.
Yeah.
Because I've been around some really good folks too in this business. And I'm self-taught here through your WordPress meetup and the people I've met there and evolved in the last few years. So
yeah, I've enjoyed watching you take off on it. It kind of start spinning out sites from I have no idea to now I have 17 sites. So that's great. That's always good to hear.
Yeah, my background was I was a reservist. I was activated, and I ran an Exchange server and design build construction, but I didn't know anything about WordPress because WordPress evolved while I was back in the military per se. I'd heard about it. It was a blog site.
Yep.
And I saw it, and it's an amazing platform.
Yeah.
It's a fun platform.
More than anything, it's the ecosystem that's evolved that I think is probably more important than just about anything.
Hey, you're going to have to come on WP Tonic one of these days. Tell us about your story about developing that plugin. So going number 2.
Okay.
Learn from experience. I got to put on my glasses. Learn from experienced people, basically. Learn from experienced people.
Well, experiences and people. Yeah. Yeah, just it's good things, bad things happen to us all the time, right? It's just a matter of learning from it. Experiences could be a good experience, like if you have a site hacked or a security issue, you learn what not to do next time, right? And in most of our experiences in life, or most of our knowledge in life, is what not to do. Right? That's you look at big CEOs and big companies, big presidents, that kind of, and in those big companies, they've made a lot of mistakes over time, and they've learned from those experiences, and they've become better because of it. So, yeah,
very good. Well, I made my font bigger. I use notes on my screen here, and we're doing this virtual from my studio to your office, which is now a studio, which is really a future studio because behind is your whiteboard, and you're starting to create, I know, an online course, right, for your car leadership folks.
Yeah, that's correct. For local digital marketers, again, we want to be able to push the car dealer websites to the edges, where somebody could actually sit with the car dealer and educate them on what needs to happen. Because especially the small independents, they need a lot of help right now. They're just getting eaten up by the online and the CarMaxes and some of the big companies out there. So, I want to be able to educate them on the car business so they can take their knowledge of online marketing and share it with the car dealers.
That could be a topic in itself, because I know that CarMax has really taken over. That's got to be, I never thought about that, how tough it must be. In fact, I've noticed some smaller lots going out of business.
Oh, you bet. Yeah, it's hard. It's because there's that stigma that goes with car dealers to begin with. And they need to build that trust online, and they don't know how to do it. And let's face it, a good digital marketer or good online marketer is not cheap. There's so much money to be made right now. The good ones are out there independent and making it on their own. They're not going to go work for, commission only at a car dealership, and a car dealership can't afford the type of salary that would warrant getting them there. So it's kind of bridging that gap is what we need to do.
Real estate industry is similar. There's a certain size.
Yeah, there's a lot of businesses that are in that position. Yeah.
Social media now too. Okay, constantly ask, how can I make things better?
Mm-hmm. It's something I've always done. Even when I was 18, I parked cars and saw flaws in the system on how it was done, and actually helped develop it to be more efficient. Just efficiencies in general. I tend to be a stickler for how to make do things with as few steps as possible. Life is too short to spend time doing things in a poor way.
In this business, the business I'm in, and I'm in the new media business, and WordPress is our foundation. That's our platform, but it's about the communication systems and processes. And you have to somehow really work on efficiencies.
Yep.
Every day you have to sharpen the sword. You've got to figure out how to do things faster. We were talking today about that. We share ideas and efficiencies. And I believe in sharing, like the knowledge. You came right up today on this ATR 2100 mic set, and it just worked. Boom.
Yeah. No,
figure that out on your own. It's kind of tough.
Yeah. It makes and sharing with each other, right? You taught me that today, which was awesome. I thought that's great.
Number 4 is share what you learn.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I like the WordPress meetup. Where we learned or where we met, obviously, is it's an opportunity for me to give back, right? And hopefully those people like you, again, it's exciting to see, 17 websites. That's awesome.
and WordPress, WP Tonic is ranked number 7th in the world for a podcast on WordPress.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That was cool. And that's Jonathan.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, again, everybody just kind of giving back. It's, rising tide, raises all boats is a big thing.
So share what you learned. What are some of the things you share with your car dealers? And what are some of the things you want to share?
It's just every day, it's the hardest thing for me to share with them or to get them to understand is that the internet and a website doesn't all of a sudden sell cars, right? Especially nowadays. People are, as they're searching for cars online, they're looking for the car that's right for them, right? Of which they need to be able to help educate those customers on what is the right car. Then they need to have do it so well that they build trust online, right? So it's not just, hey, my cars need to be on there. They need to have the lowest price. They need to have the the most information. It's the transaction itself that makes the most difference. And if they can start building that trust and giving back that way, then it all works out. So.
You mentioned something to me about 6 months ago that we've employed in real estate. And you said for the agent for the car dealer to take a picture of the car video and just take a picture of him, selfie, and talk.
Yep.
So they get that personal relationship, get to know the salesperson before they see the salesperson. Yep. And if they do enough online, they'll get to know him. You probably didn't see Cal Worthington.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And his dog Spot, you bet.
Everyone knew who he was. But if each agent, you can get that same feeling, the salesperson.
Yep.
Which you said you can do it. They said, take a picture of the car, talk about it, talk about how much you have passion for it, know about the car, take a picture of yourself. People get to know you. Well, we started doing that with real estate with Karen at KarenConrad.com. And we just started doing it the last few months, and people are commenting already. And she puts it up on Facebook, business site, but as well as her blog site. Mm-hmm. And that blog has really helped her. And now what's happening is when you go on images, she's starting to come up on images on SEO. Because of a blog and hooking in that video.
That's awesome.
So a car dealer could do the same thing. But I learned that from you.
Yeah, and and I think it's huge because again, when you're buying a product of that value, right, or that expense, you want to make sure that it's right for you. And because of the stigma that it surrounds car dealers in general, if you can be real. Right. Just, hey, hi, my name is Mike, and I'm going to show you this car. And a perfect way to do it is customers call a car dealerships all the time. Hey, do you still have this, XYZ car? Right. If I'm a car salesperson at a dealership in today's world, first thing I do is, as a matter of fact, we do. Let me get your email address and I'll go do a quick video for you. Right.
And link it and just email it to you, put it up on YouTube and link it.
You bet. And send it right out to them or put it on the site and send them a link to the site so that they could even share it with their friends. Right. And then like you were mentioning the evergreen content, even though let's say I do it for you. I say, hey, Bill, I'm going to do a quick video walk around of this car so you can see it and the condition it's in. And then I flip it around and I start talking. So now I've just introduced myself. Now you've seen me. Right. Mm-hmm. And we've talked on the phone. I walk around it. I tell you about the car. What's nice about it and the blemishes, maybe it needs tires, maybe it doesn't, you want to know the good and the bad. And then I put it up on my site and I send it over to you. It's still evergreen content because the next person that comes to the site and sees that, they may not be interested in that car, but they're interested in another car and they want a video. So they're going to call and ask for me to do the same thing. Very good.
Another thing you can do on the YouTube, if every agent has a link at the bottom, you can say in big letters, sold. And to keep that up there, that inventory up, and just put sold, and it's sold on the bottom of the notes. That's great. Good idea.
Yep.
I can't imagine a lot of things you can do. Dealer of any size wouldn't do that, or every agent.
Yeah, it's a time thing. But salespeople spend 80% of their day sitting around most of the time, waiting for customers to come in. And nowadays, customers show up at a car lot, they already know which car they're looking for, right? So they need to take that 80% of their time and be productive with it.
Right. Very good. So finally, take action.
Yep. That one kind of speaks for itself. It's, I think I gave you a quote that I really like as well. when in that form, and they kind of go together for me. Is it's a guy by the name of George Zalicki that I've listened to in the past, and this one always sticks with me. It's do the thing that you said you were going to do long after the emotion you set it in has left you, because action is, you can sit and you do your task list and, hey, this is my goal and this is what I want to do. And it's so easy in today's world to kind of deviate from that and not finish and not take action and, on the things that matter. So when you make a commitment to do something, you want to take action towards that commitment and continue to do so until you've got it done.
Very good. So we really don't have much time left, but I just want to mention a couple of books. You talked about growth hacker marketing and Frogs into Princes. And always you talked about Awaken the Giant and Unlimited Power.
Yeah.
Anthony Robbins. Just a couple of minutes. Those are some of your favorite books.
Yeah, Anthony Robbins, I read some of his books years ago, and it kind of directed me towards NLP, or neuro-linguistic programming. And I've always been big into sports and big into sales, and it's a way to become, again, more efficient, get better at what you do. And those Frogs into Princes is kind of the starting book for NLP. So that's why I brought that up. Great book if you're interested in NLP. The growth hacker marketing just happens to be something I've read recently, and really liked the layout. It had a lot to do with make your product what your customers are looking for, right? And then marketing just kind of happens. So those are some again, just books that were top of mind.
Very good. Well, with that, we're going to take our second break, and it's our final break, and we'll come back to the end of the show. And we have someone who wants to ask a question from one of our audience. Okay, we always like to have our guest give a commercial for his business or her business, should she or he want to. So go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I don't know if I have something canned, but our Car Dealer Press plugin, if you're a digital marketer, or online marketer or social marketer, you actually help clients in a local atmosphere. Build websites, make sure that they're advertising to themselves. Definitely check out the Car Dealer Press plugin. One of the things with inventory and car dealers is you need somebody to manage that for you. And that's really what we do. We take care of all the inventory, so you don't have to worry about that. You can white label the front end website the way you want to and get results for car dealers and really help them out. We want it to be a team relationship where we partner up and help car dealers succeed.
Very good, Mike. Okay, we have a question from Jonathan Denwood. He's coming up to ask Mike a quick question. Jonathan, you've been watching the whole show. What do you think?
That's been fantastic. Yeah, great show, Bill.
So what's your question?
Well, I think most people don't realize, because when you started on this road with WordPress, Mike, it was quite early on in the development of WordPress. Did you have some worries when you first decided to utilize WordPress that it was actually going to be capable of doing what you really needed it to do?
Yes, it was kind of a risk at first, because we started building websites for car dealers before we had our own plugin, our own internal process of making that happen. And so we put a lot of eggs in one basket, and we're kind of rolling the dice that WordPress would continue to evolve the way that it did, and got to say, there was some luck involved. I was listening to a lot of podcasts at the time, and you could definitely feel the vibe changing. That WordPress had the potential to be what it is today, and again, we got lucky. So there was a little concern there, but that was.
So what version of WordPress was you at when you first started to develop the product?
Yeah, you know what? I don't recall what version it is, but the Kubiak theme was still the default theme at that time. So it was quite a while ago.
2.7, 2.8?
Yeah, well before 3.0. Yeah, because we had to do things unique with the menu system. Well before you could do a custom menu, we were using plugins to make that happen, so we could deep link into our inventory.
So that was well before custom post types 3.0.
Yep.
So you were really pushing it, customizing it, and pushing it quite heavily, wasn't you?
Yeah, we weren't. It wasn't something we could release into the wild. We had some developers utilize what we were doing at the time, but it was it was really support heavy for us because we had to educate them on how to do it, and just make it work. So yeah, it's been kind of an interesting road.
Well, Jonathan, thank you for coming up with that question, and we'll have to have Mike on WP Tonic on a topic.
Yeah, it'd be great because I think another podcast, which would be a fascinating conversation, if you approach Matt of the Matt Report, because him and his family owned a car dealership near Boston. And
big time.
He's totally, him and his family are totally immersed in the car culture. So that conversation, that interview between him and yourself would be fascinating, Mike.
Maybe we could bring all four on the show. That'd be
that
wonderful.
Would be fantastic, actually. That would be great.
Yeah, I'll be quiet and listen. That'd be wonderful to see you guys. We'll bring you guys together. Great use of the show. Thank you, Jonathan. Hey, Jonathan, I was going to ask you if also could bring the props in. Jonathan took himself off. It's one question. That's the most anybody's ever asked questions, Mike. Congratulations.
Nice.
Well, it's usually somebody will come in. I'll ask if they want to ask a question, and they're familiar with the platform. Hey, so we have to finish this up. So how does the listener get a hold of you?
If for our plugin, cardealerpress.com, and then, or dealertrend.com, either way. Cardealerpress.com, if you're interested in the plugin, is definitely where to go. There's a lot of information there to begin with. And then just Mike at dealertrend.com is, I'm always checking emails. So
Mike at dealertrend.com. And we're going to have this in the show notes at timelinesofsuccess.com. So we'll have it there. And then finally, Mike, we're going to ask one last question after this. Mike, one last question. Looking back with your business, with your development company, what would you do different?
Yeah, that's a good one. Probably just about everything, but everything and nothing, right? So in retrospect, again, you learn through your experiences with the knowledge you have now, you would probably start off differently. Or at least we would start off differently and have built things. I don't want to say more efficient, just in a different manner. We would probably have started off, with something that was more extendable, which we've grown into now. Our last version of the plugin is definitely more extendable by developers. We've identified our client base as we've moved forward. So there's actually quite a few things we'd probably do differently, but at the same time, looking back and with what we knew at the time, I think we'd probably still be at the same spot.
They say know your avatar, which is your client.
Mm-hmm.
But you came out of that base. So did you know your client? I asked two questions.
Yeah. So our client originally was car dealers. We had several hundred car dealers that we handled directly, and we built their website. It was on our hosting. We managed it. We did everything, right? So that's kind of where we grew from. And now we've changed that avatar. So it used to be the car dealer, the progressive car dealer that understood what WordPress was and wanted that control. And now our avatar is the local online marketing company that has a portfolio of clients, not only car dealers, but other people that maybe have a developer or two. They, want to put their flavor into what they're doing. So it's changed over time. It's definitely evolved.
Well, very good, Mike. We thank you for coming on this Friday the 13th in the afternoon. And your show is 142, which will be up in a couple of weeks. We got a little backlog here, but we deeply appreciate you being on. And we look forward to coming on over to WP Tonic. And remember, you can find Mike's site at dealertrends.com, dealertrends.com. And you can find all the notes here at timelinesofsuccess.com. Thanks, Mike.
Perfect. Thank you.